Your kidneys may be working harder before breakfast is even over, not because of a diagnosis you missed, just because of what is sitting on your kitchen table right now. Things you have been eating for years that your kidneys at 60 or 70 are handling very differently than they did at 40. The kidneys you have today are quieter than the ones you had 20 years ago. They do not send early warning signs the way other organs do. And some foods that felt harmless your whole life may now be asking more from your kidneys than they can comfortably give. I'm Grace Wells, kidney and diabetes health educator for older adults. Today, I want to walk you through 5 common breakfast foods, ones that are probably in your kitchen right now, and explain what they may be doing to your kidneys without you realizing it. And I want you to pay particular attention to number 4. It is probably the one you feel best about. That is exactly why it matters. Before we get into the list, one quick thing worth understanding. Kidney function naturally declines with age. By your 60s, your kidneys are filtering your blood at a meaningfully lower capacity than they once were. That is not a disease. That is biology. But it does mean the daily choices at your breakfast table carry more weight than they used to. The kidneys manage sodium, potassium, phosphorus, fluid balance, and blood pressure, all at once, every single day. When breakfast adds extra pressure to that process, it adds up quietly. No pain, no visible signs, just your kidneys working harder than they should, morning after morning. So let's look at what might be on that table. The first one is something millions of people eat every morning, and it smells incredible coming out of the pan. Bacon, sausage, ham, processed breakfast meats in general. Now, I am not here to make you feel guilty about the occasional slice of bacon, but the sodium content in these foods is genuinely striking. A couple of strips of bacon carries 400 to 600 milligrams of sodium. A few sausage links or slices of deli ham, and you can easily reach 700 to 900 milligrams before you have even had your coffee. The daily recommendation for most older adults with any kidney concerns is typically under 2,000 milligrams for the entire day. Some people, depending on their kidney function and blood pressure, may need to stay closer to 1,500. When there is more sodium coming in than your kidneys can comfortably clear, they hold on to more fluid. That raises blood pressure. And elevated blood pressure, over time, is one of the most damaging things that can happen to kidney tissue. It is a cycle that builds quietly. The second issue with processed breakfast meats is phosphorus. These products contain phosphate additives, used to improve texture and shelf life. Phosphate additives are absorbed much more readily by the body than the natural phosphorus in whole foods, and for kidneys working at reduced capacity, clearing that extra phosphorus becomes harder. Phosphorus buildup affects bone strength and heart health, and it is one of the numbers nephrologists watch most closely. The swap here does not need to be dramatic. 2 scrambled eggs carry far less sodium and no phosphate additives. A small portion of chicken or turkey you prepare yourself, where you control the ingredients, is another reasonable option. The issue for most seniors is not occasional enjoyment, it is daily habit. If your doctor has already mentioned watching sodium or phosphorus, this is exactly where to start looking. Now, something that feels much more innocent sitting right next to it on the breakfast table: the cereal bowl. Breakfast cereals have been marketed as healthy for decades. Many boxes say Heart Smart or whole grain right on the front. Some are genuinely decent choices, but many of the most popular ones, especially the ones people in their 60s and 70s grew up with, carry a level of added sugar that would concern most kidney specialists. Here is the connection that surprises people: sugar and kidney health. When you eat a high-sugar breakfast, blood sugar rises quickly. Over time, consistently high blood sugar, even without a diabetes diagnosis, damages the tiny blood vessels inside the kidneys. Those vessels are how filtration actually happens. Repeated spikes year after year wear them down. This is one of the main reasons diabetes is the leading cause of kidney disease in the United States. But the early damage often begins long before any diagnosis. During years of high-sugar breakfasts, nobody looked at closely. A cereal with 12 to 18 grams of added sugar, which is completely common, can trigger exactly that kind of spike, especially in older adults, where insulin sensitivity is lower and blood sugar regulation is less efficient. And there is a hidden sodium problem too. Turn a box of cornflakes, bran flakes, or granola around and check the sodium per serving. You may find 150 to 300 milligrams in what feels like a light, healthy bowl. And here is the part most people miss. The serving size on that label is often 3/4 of a cup. If you are filling a normal bowl, you are probably pouring 2 or even 3 servings, which means you are doubling or tripling every number on that label, and most people have no idea. Plain old-fashioned rolled oats, made at home with no added sugar, is one of the most kidney-friendly breakfast choices available. The fiber slows blood sugar absorption rather than spiking it. Add a little cinnamon, a small piece of fruit, maybe a few walnuts if your kidney function allows. Simple. Satisfying. Genuinely gentle on the kidneys. Which brings me to number 3. And this is the one that gets me every time, because it is the one people feel most confident about. The oatmeal packet, instant oatmeal, apple cinnamon, maple brown sugar, peaches and cream. It sounds wholesome. But look at what is actually in a standard flavored packet. Sodium, 200 to 290 milligrams per packet. That is close to what you would find in several strips of bacon, in something most people consider a light, clean breakfast. Many older adults have 2 packets because one feels like too little. Sugar, 12 to 16 grams of added sugar. Maple brown sugar flavor sits at the high end, and the oats in instant packets are processed more finely than old-fashioned oats, which means faster digestion and a quicker blood sugar spike. The oat itself is not the problem. The packet is. Plain rolled oats, cooked in water with your own toppings, is a completely different food from that flavored packet. Same base ingredient. Very different effect on your kidneys and blood sugar. If you have been reaching for the packet every morning because it felt like the responsible choice, now you know to look a little closer. So we have covered processed meats, boxed cereals, and the oatmeal packet. 3 foods that most people either knew were imperfect or suspected. But number 4 is different. This is the one that genuinely catches people off guard, because it sits on the breakfast table as the symbol of doing things right. A large glass of orange juice. This one surprises almost everyone, because it feels like the healthiest choice you can make in the morning. It feels like taking care of yourself. A large glass of orange juice. Orange juice carries real vitamin C. That part is true, but a large glass also carries a significant amount of potassium. An 8-ounce glass of orange juice has roughly 450 to 500 milligrams of potassium. A 12-ounce glass, which is what many people pour, can reach 650 to 700 milligrams or more. For younger, healthy kidneys, processing dietary potassium is straightforward. But when kidney function declines, the kidneys may not clear potassium as efficiently. When it builds up in the blood, it can affect heart rhythm, which is one of the more serious concerns in kidney care. Now, this is important. Not every person over 60 needs to restrict potassium. Some people actually need to make sure they are getting enough. This is entirely dependent on your lab results and your doctor's guidance. But if your kidney function numbers, your GFR or creatinine, are not where you want them to be, a large daily glass of orange juice is worth discussing at your next appointment. And for everyone, there is a simpler issue. A large glass of orange juice delivers around 20 to 26 grams of natural sugar with almost no fiber to slow it down. Eating an actual orange gives you that fiber. Drinking the juice removes it. Your blood sugar rises faster. Your kidneys handle that spike alongside the potassium load. If OJ is a daily habit, you may not need to eliminate it. A smaller portion, or simply eating the whole fruit, can make a real difference. If you have recognized yourself in any of these so far, if you are thinking about your kitchen right now in a different way, that is not something to feel bad about. That is information. The kind of information that leads to better conversations with your doctor. If this channel has been giving you that kind of clear, honest guidance, you may want to stay with it. There is more coming. Now, number 5, and this one may be the most counterintuitive of all, because it is built around something you have probably been told to do more of, not less. The very heavy protein-loaded breakfast. Protein is important for older adults. Muscle loss is a real concern. Adequate protein supports strength and mobility. That is not in question. But for kidneys already working at reduced capacity, a very large protein load in one meal creates a specific kind of stress. When your body breaks down protein, it produces waste, primarily urea, that the kidneys must filter out. 4 eggs, 2 sausages, a large portion of Greek yogurt, a protein shake, all at once. That is a significant filtration demand, sustained for several hours. For people with healthy kidneys, this is generally not a concern. But for people over 60 with reduced kidney function, and a meaningful number of older adults have some degree of decline without knowing it, that daily protein load matters. The answer is not to eat less protein overall. It is to spread it more evenly across the day rather than front-loading everything at breakfast. 2 eggs, a small portion of yogurt, a slice of whole grain toast, and then protein at lunch and dinner as well. That distribution is much easier on the kidneys than one very heavy morning meal. If you use protein powders, that is worth mentioning to your doctor. Many shakes contain 25 to 35 grams per scoop. Add that to eggs and yogurt at breakfast, and the combined load may be more than your kidneys need to manage at once. Your specific protein needs depend on your kidney function, your muscle health, and your overall nutrition picture. So bring it up at your next visit. Let's bring this together simply. Processed breakfast meats load your kidneys with sodium and phosphate additives before the day has even started. Sugary cereals and flavored oatmeal packets drive blood sugar spikes that slowly damage the tiny vessels the kidneys depend on. A large glass of orange juice delivers potassium and sugar in a form the body absorbs quickly. And a very heavy protein breakfast creates a filtration demand that reduced kidney capacity may struggle with day after day. None of these foods need to be permanently off your table. That is not the point. The point is, look more closely, read the label, notice the sodium. Ask a better question at your next doctor's visit. If you do one thing this week, let it be this. Check the sodium on whatever you eat for breakfast tomorrow. You do not have to change anything yet, just look at the number. Because awareness is always where meaningful change begins. If your doctor has already mentioned sodium, potassium, phosphorus, or protein, you now have a very clear place to start. This video is for educational purposes. I am not your doctor. The right approach for your kidneys depends on your individual lab results, your kidney function stage, and the guidance of your healthcare team. Please bring what you have learned today to your next appointment. Before I go, I want to ask you something. Which breakfast food on this list do you eat most often? Leave it in the comments. Your answer might help another senior watching this realize they are not the only one. That is something no search engine can do. Only you can. And if one sentence in this video helped you look at your breakfast table differently, or gave you a better question to bring to your doctor, then this video did its job. If you want to keep getting this kind of clear, grounded kidney health guidance, I would be glad to have you stay with this channel. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.